right, gang. We are live about 5 minutes early just for a little pre-show check-in. Ashley, how you doing over there?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. And when I mean over there, I mean Asheville, North Carolina.
All the way over there across the country.
All the way, yeah. I love the split of things. I just want to make sure, guys, that for those of you guys who are chiming in early and checking this out, that you can hear us and see us, and we're all visible and whatnot. Yep, sound definitely works. That's good.
Well, I don't see anything on this side yet.
For YouTube?
Mm.
It just pulled up on my phone, which is good. Yeah. There we go. We got 15 people in there already, which is cool. Live chat.
Nice.
Howdy, gang. Say hi. Hey, look who it is. It's Mr. Brent. Brent, you've got exclusive access to the pre-show, the launch of Together We Move. Piping in from...
Yeah, I don't think I'm getting the comments on this side, Craig. I mean, Nate, just so you know. But that's it.
Oh, are you on the YouTube page?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that the video's playing?
Nope. I'll log in again.
Why don't you refresh? Because it looks like it's playing on my end.
Cool.
The launch of Together We Move.
Got it. Putting
it on there we go. It's in there. Look at all these people saying hello. Stephanie says, I can hear and see. Lexi says, I can hear and see you guys. Jim, hello. From Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, guys from Fleet Feet, Folsom, and Roseville. What's up, Jocelyn? Yeah, like...
Yay, Jocelyn.
We got 23 on you so far. It's always fun to, chat a little bit early and see where you guys all are, watching from. I'm out here in San Francisco. Ashley, you said you're Asheville. Where are the rest of you guys? Chime in the comments, and we'll see what you guys are posting. Oh, Melisha says, Ashley, I do your 5-minute strength Fleet Feet warm-up before every run. I can't believe what a quick difference it made. And hi, Coach Nate. I watch y'all too. I know.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah, Melisha, we're going to get into it a little bit, but we were just talking about our respective disparate backgrounds because neither of us came into this as pure runners. And who knows, maybe that's one of the reasons why we're still around and enjoying running, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that, and part of the reason for sharing a 5-minute pre-run strength routine that you did was just because, like if you don't feel like you have the time to do it or you don't really want to, that's just like a great introduction to doing some more dynamic and balanced movement without feeling like you're committing to something really big before you run. So. Yeah,
it's always nice to do that, right? We got more and more people jumping in, which is awesome. Oh, and I pronounced your name correctly? Man, that's awesome, Alicia. I am really happy I did that because I did not think that I would be successful on that front. Deborah says, hi, Fincastle. Ellen, Glendale, California. Stephanie Anderson, but I'm the Fleet Feet Burbank store. Very cool. Jocelyn says, I couldn't see the comments, but on your desktop. If you toggle the little arrow on the description, it'll, I think you can, where did I have this on my phone? There's a way to see the live comments as they came through. I just lost it.
Hi, Riley!
Northern Alabama. That's where my wife's family's from, Jack.
And Alan in Alberta, Canada.
I know. Fun fact, Ashley, I got married in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
A lot of extended family on my wife's side down there.
Uh-huh.
And when you get married in your 20s and your respective grandparents want to host it, and you say yes.
Yeah.
Because those things are expensive. Oh, man.
They are. Victor, hi. And Chris, hello.
Hello, hello. Guys, if you're just signing in, we have quite the show for you. First of all, we are going to tackle the main things we talked about is for all of us who are under some sort of quarantine and are stuck at home. We're going to share some of the things that both Ashley and I have done as coaches, not only ourselves, but also that we advise other runners and athletes to do so that we can all stay sane and not, kill our housemates or get killed by our housemates. Because, runners, you pent them up to get all that nervous energy, and you got to let it out, right? It's like there's only one direction that's going to go.
Right here.
Yeah. So much. But I wanted, for you guys who, a lot of the Fleet Feet fam is here, and of course you guys know Ashley, but for the TRE community who doesn't know Ashley Arnold, she is one of the main coaches and contributors on the Fleet Feet side. So if you go and subscribe to the Fleet Feet's YouTube channel, which you definitely should, she is posting workouts in there, pretty regular rhythm. How often are you guys posting right now?
A few every week. So, and now pretty much every day that we're incorporating workouts from this as well. So,
yeah,
about 3 times a week before. Yeah.
3 times a week before, and now, as we will get to, it's going to start to be every day, which is going to be some craziness. And you have, a background, we were just talking a little bit in dance and in yoga. Like, I think it'd be fun. Like, what got you into running?
Well, I've actually been running for 20 years. I started as a sprinter my freshman year of high school. I ran the 300-meter hurdles, which was I quit gymnastics and I started running, and so that's how that started. But I danced throughout this whole period, and then when I went to college, I was running distance, like the 5K, and kept dancing, quit running, and then kind of found my way back to running later in life when I started trail running. But throughout that whole time, I practiced yoga and danced, and so that really brought a balanced side to running, I think. That has made me really focus on.
Yeah, I want to hit on that because that's so much part of the whole Together We Move, thing that we're doing. It is really the spirit of, hey, we've all been dealt a collective set of cards. It's different than what we all planned. So rather than bemoan the things that we can't do, let's use this opportunity for things we can do. And I really think that, especially if you guys are following the daily training we're starting to put out, we're all going to come out with new set of habits, exercises, and just approach to being an athlete. And I really think that we'll all be, better athletes for that. But just to, kind of poke on your background a little bit, and not to go too far down the weeds if you don't want to, but like when you transitioned in college from running back to dance, was it, I got bored or burned out of running, I dealt with some injuries that I couldn't get over? Like, what of any of that would you, want to share?
Yeah, it's a pretty long story, so I won't go into all the long part of it, but definitely was like, I wanted to get away from the really competitive part of running for a while. Yeah. It was just, it had become overwhelming, and just focus on something a little more creative at the time. So that's where that transition happened. And then I found trail running later in life, and I think that filled this really interesting balance between the two, which led me down many different paths to kind of come full circle.
That is something that, I think everyone can relate to. I know I did. I was a competitive triathlete for years, and I got burned out because this thing that was such a source of adventure and exploration and joy became this thing I started to take more seriously. And all of a sudden, my own expectations ramped up, my own perception of other people's expectations of how they think I was supposed to do, that ramped up. And all of a sudden, it just didn't really become enjoyable anymore. So I can definitely relate to you there. And, we know you runners out there that have that too.
Yeah. And, it's really hard for a lot of runners out there, like, you may have had a goal before all of this happened, like one of the races that was canceled, and it's like, what do you do with that, and where do you channel that? And just kind of coming back to the Together We Move training, that's such an exciting thing about this training, is that we can tap into those places where maybe we have weaknesses that we can develop, or other habits we can develop, like we touched on earlier, to really spend this time and like help ourselves become really well-rounded athletes. So there's some very silver lining in that.
There really is. So as we've talked about this a little bit, I would love to hear in the comments if anyone's done any of our workouts yet. This has been something that we have been cobbling together on the run. It's kind of fun. Like, I don't know, I've been a part of too many things that we have sort of like willed into being in such a short period of time. From literally like 2 weeks ago, this didn't exist, to now we have this incredible collective energy. But we put out our first workout on Wednesday, and we did a little high-intensity session featuring Ashley, something that you could do from home. Yesterday, we did some hill intervals with me, and then today we have another core routine at home. And you can find these workouts, guys, in two places. One, fleetfeet.com/togetherwemove is a landing page. You'll watch an intro video talking about the spirit of this thing, and you'll get a lot of great resources from everything on the Fleet Feet side. And then for us, you can actually experience these workouts in the Run Experience app, and there's a link in the description of this video. If you don't already have it, guys, this is a free program. Like, get in there, and every single day you're going to feature new workouts. Now, can we tell them some of the people that might be doing workouts for us?
Yeah, totally. And just to preface that, one thing that's so exciting,
I don't want to spoil the surprise,
we pulled this together, is that we're able to bring the running community together in a way that we haven't before. So just people from all over the world, and all levels of athletes. So Nate, I'll let you start with some of that, and I can fill in too.
Some of my favorite things, I'll kind of give you guys some hints. So next week, we're actually going to feature a core strengthening workout from a good friend of mine who is a former Tour de France level cyclist and also runs a little bit on the side. We've got some incredible running authors, people that I know you've read their books before. They're going to be in there. I just received some very special recipes from a very special pair of incredible female runners, one of whom may or may not have won the New York City Marathon in the last couple of years. Who knows who that will be, right? She's going to be sharing.
Know, yeah.
Who's that? So we are stoked that so many people are coming together. Guys, we have other YouTube channels chipping in. You're going to see some videos and workouts from Jameel Corey, who's Run Steep, Get High. If you guys haven't, you need to go check out his channel. He just did a live cast of running a marathon on his roof a couple days ago. It's kind of crazy. It's like nice in the background while you're just, doing your work, staring at the walls inside.
That's awesome.
But those are some of my favorites.
Coaches as well. So that's really cool. We have some people from all over the country, from locally owned stores around the country, that'll be sharing some really awesome workouts as well.
Yeah, we're really excited to get the Fleet Feet crew well represented. And hey, I want to see what you guys got. You guys gotta see what you guys can bring to the table. It'll be good. Let's see here.
Jim, I see the Cooper River Bridge run canceled. I know, that's a huge bummer. I live in Asheville, and a lot of friends were training for that.
So, let's just acknowledge the just from the runner standpoint, and this is something that really runners can understand, is that you've been putting a lot of work into races and events, and all of a sudden it is just pulled out from underneath you. I remember training some athletes for Ironman Lake Tahoe years ago, and they had been training for an Ironman, which is the 2.4 mile swim, the 112 mile bike, and then the full 26.2 marathon, for 4 or 6 months. And there was a weekend that there were wildfires up in Lake Tahoe area, and the air quality was like borderline. Like, they just weren't sure if they could host it. So they wanted to see if the air would get better, and they tried to delay the decisions as late as possible. And they literally had people warming up in the water. They woke up at 4:30 that morning. They put their transition bags together. They put all of their food and fuel in boxes. Their families out. They've made signs. They're ready to cheer them on. And 15 minutes before the race starts, they cancel it. And that was one of the closest times I've been to just such a painful thing. I mean, no criticism on my part from the race organizers. They were between a rock and a hard place. If you cancel early and all of a sudden the air clears, you know, I think they gave the best shot of the race to happen. But just kind of that pain and anguish of runners and triathletes in that respect was so tough. But just for you guys out there, like if you've had a race canceled that you're training for, like drop it in the comments. We'll just kind of collectively cry quietly. But Ashley, have you, how has this affected your race schedule this year?
Well, interestingly enough, I had a very bad case of plantar fasciitis. I dropped out of a 50-mile race in November, JFK, because I thought I had a stress fracture in my foot. That's how bad it had gotten, because I wasn't stretching or doing any of my mobility stuff I knew I should be doing. So I hadn't had anything planned, which, yeah, I've just been like building back up and strangely just have been able to run in the past couple of months, which has been really nice because that's been very helpful during all of this. But
yeah, have you done 50s? Have you done 50 milers before?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a long way. It is crazy. It's quite a long way. But you know, it's just like it's no matter what you're running, that's always such a hard distance because that's the thing you're training for. And yeah.
You know, I've done some things for 9 or 10 hours. Well, I've done some triathlons, like Ironmans. And what's nice is that you're going for that extended period of time, but you're like splitting up the sport. And it feels very different than when you're just doing one. And years ago, I got the opportunity to race Leadville 100 on a mountain bike. And that was 9.5 hours or 9 hours and change my bike seat. That was a different feel.
That seems like a long time to be on a mountain bike.
It was a long time to be on a mountain bike. Yes, anything to do for that extended period is tough. So you had no races scheduled this spring, but do you like foresee yourself like getting back into the mix in the summer or the fall? Did you have any things circled on your calendar?
Yeah. Well, what I did have a few weeks ago, I was going to go run rim to rim to rim for my bachelorette party.
Oh, fun!
And then I was getting married in May, but we have so those were my big spring plans. So we have had to postpone all of that. But it'll be in the fall, which will be nice. But yeah, I think just going back to JFK next year is kind of my goal. It's like unfinished business. So
back to JFK. Fun fact, that is Coach Holly's first 50-mile race
really?
that she did years ago. She did it was a year that it was like very cold and wet.
That's a great first 50. I have a good friend who also ran her first 50 there. Oh my gosh, Debbie, 4 races canceled. That's a lot.
I know, that's a lot.
Feel for you.
So gang, Ashley is a little shy, but Brent is bragging for her. And in the comments, he says, Ashley will never tell you this, but she didn't just run trails. She actually came in first place in the iconic Leadville 100-mile race in Colorado in 2014. Is that true?
I think it was 2013 or 2012.
2012?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
What got you in? That's incredible. What got you into running 100? And when you did that, like, I think what's amazing is the difference just between the mentality of finishing versus like competing. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like one of those people that'll just like go, just keep going and keep going. I'm very stubborn that way.
It's a good quality in ultra athlete.
I think so. Yeah. And I think I just, I don't know, when I moved to Colorado, at the time I had heard about trail running and like started doing a little bit of it, and I was interning at Trail Runner when I was younger, and just like everyone was running ultras in Colorado, and so I just kind of got into it, and yeah, that's really how it happened.
Leadville. So guys, like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Leadville. It is at 10,000 feet at the base. Like, I've done a lot of stuff in Tahoe where you're at like 6,000. You might go up to 8 or 10, but like you start at 10. And I flew out there with my mountain bike, and I was like a day or two before the race. And I'm like getting my bike ready. And when you like fly with your bike and your tires, you have to deflate the tires, because when you like fly, otherwise the change in pressure, the tires will pop. So I've deflated the tires, and I'm like pumping them back up. And it's like the day before, I'm just like kind of pre-race nervous for this thing. And I'm like pumping, and I'm like pumping, and I'm like pumping, and I'm just nervous because I'm like, man, my tires, I have a flat, I need to like fix this, like where's the bike shop? My race is in like less than 24 hours. And then I just realized, no, I'm at 10,000 feet, and there is no oxygen, so it literally takes me 3 times the amount to pump my tires. I was out of breath pumping my tires for my bike, and that was the single most intimidating thing about doing anything endurance up there. Like, it is just another scene.
Yeah,
that's
totally
crazy.
Different. Yeah.
That is.
But man, humidity in the South is.
That's its own.
Really bad.
Yeah, that's its own.
For those of you joining who live in the South, could argue that's even more difficult.
Yeah. So for my schedule this spring, I had a few things, changed up. I was getting ready to travel to some races and events. My team this weekend was actually supposed to be in LA for the Nike LA half. We were supposed to be at Lake Sonoma 50 miler the weekend after to do some filming and projects, so that's out. The next weekend, and this is the one I was more personally bummed about, was the Boston Marathon and the 5K. And I wasn't racing the Boston, just going out to support all you guys and to get some good video content. Coach Morgan and Edward on our team were running, so to go and support them. But I had gotten my act together and signed up for the 5K. And what I didn't realize, Ashley, is how quickly the BAA 5K sells out. It's like hours. So like you have to, like, I got the email for like January 7th, and I was just like, I'm getting on here and registering for this thing. So I've been so excited for this 5K, and I've been working on my speed a little bit. I wanted to see if I could break 18 minutes there. Now that won't happen. So now I'm, with all the rest of us looking at virtual things. But I would.
And what do we do now, and how do we like shift our mindset to like use this time and still share in the community aspect of the support, which is what we've been working on with all of this.
Which is what we have been working on. So how has your mind shifted a little bit, right? Like, now that you're home, you're not going to the office, like, what are some of the things that you're doing, day to day? And guys, like, we would love to hear from you as well, right? Like, we would love to see like how you're solving this. If you used to run at a track and you can't, what are you doing? If you ran with a group, what are you doing now? If you're at the gym and you're strength training, I'm sure we'll, kind of pull up some fun stories and anecdotes. But yeah, Ashley, like, how has this been changing for you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things for me is I always train with a group. I have a group of women I always run with. It's very social for me. So, not having that group anymore to run with, that has definitely been a challenge. And just, because above all, like, we need to make sure that, yes, like, let's get out and run, but let's make sure that we're running responsibly and we're being safe when we do it, and we're not running around like tons and tons of people, and just really making good decisions there. So, I obviously, we all now know I like to run very long distances. So that's one thing that shifted for me, thinking about where I'm going to run and not necessarily going far home. And like now I live in North Carolina, so it's different than like when I was in Colorado, and maybe going out on a long run puts me way out in the backcountry in some place where, if something happened, I wouldn't necessarily have access, like thinking about like search and rescue or something like that. So even taking those kinds of things into consideration, like, is where you're going posing a threat to someone else? So kind of like addressing each of those things before you go, and just being mindful about that. But then also, like discovering new ways to like keep running fun close to home. Yeah. And that's been neat to.
What have been some examples, like, kind of on the keep running fun train? Like, what have you kind of stumbled into?
Yeah. So some sort of running games with myself. I live out in the country, and there is the road that I live off of is like, there's no shoulder, and cars drive like on this road. But there's a 2.5 mile out and back from my house that's like really quiet, and so I have run that like
multiple times.
Over. There's a path in town I've still been going to that's still open. But on this particular stretch of road, just thinking about how I can keep that interesting, and like working in a lot of more tempos and fartlicks and really fun, like interesting speed things to do on that, just to keep me engaged.
Yeah.
And I know that you do a lot of gym stuff, so now you're home.
Yeah, I wanna talk about the gym stuff too. For me, for running, what's been fun. I've been doing. A lot of you guys know I'm good buds with Mario Fraioli. He's been on our videos. In fact, we just posted a video on our channel Wednesday about a little film before lockdown, 5K training thing on the track with me, Mario, and Mike. And we've just been, having fun, just sort of like loosely pushing each other, to run hard and fast, and not take things too overly serious at the same time. So Mario has been writing me run workouts, one workout a week, and then I write him and his wife home strength workouts that they can do. And the rule is it can't be typed out, it has to be handwritten. So we handwrite things, we snap a little photo and send it across. But he's been sending me some workouts to do that I can do in the neighborhood that have been, originally it was supposed to be on the track, and then what we've done is we've just converted everything to timed intervals, effort, and that's been kind of the piece. Like, I don't run on the track a ton. I was enjoying doing it a little bit, but it's fun to go through the neighborhood. Like, I'm not quite as vigilantly staring at my watch. I enjoy that. I like the, getting used to like the undulating terrain. Like this morning I did 6 rounds of like a 2-minute 5K effort, 30-second float, and then 30-second at like a 3K or 1 mile effort. And it was like kind of like half a mile slightly rolling up, and about 400 meters slightly rolling up and 400 slightly rolling down. So it's kind of fun to like make the adjustments. And it was cool. It's like, I've never run laps in this part of the neighborhood before. No one is driving anywhere. So literally I just ran in the middle of the road. Because it's just a quiet little neighborhood thing. And so I was like, okay, like this isn't, the worst.
There's so much exploration you can have in a small area, so that like really being able to like notice those things where we live, and that we, usually are just flying by. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, it's fun. Josh chiming in says fartlek runs add nice variety to the same old hood. Pick a new hill and go do repeats. Absolutely. Stephanie says trying to stay within a couple mile radius of my place. However, doing the same route gets boring, so I start zigzagging the streets. Now I'm seeing more of my neighborhood than normal. And then Jimmy says, "Hey Ashley, I'm with you. I miss the social aspect for running. Here with our Fleet Feet Mount Pleasant Monday Run Day crew." Yeah, I miss the social aspect as well. But one of the things, guys, that we've been doing, and this is part of the Together We Move, is that Mario writes the workout, and then myself, Mario, and Mike, we all do it, and then we like compare like how it went later. So like I'm running and I'm not running with these guys physically, but it somehow helps knowing that they're doing the workout too. And that's very much the spirit of this, like, Together We Move daily training. So know that when you log in and do those workouts, like, you're doing them with your friends, your fellow Fleet Feet crew, and with us.
Yeah. I mean, I think, just knowing that we're all in this together, and in whatever way we can, like, we're here to support each other, and that's really powerful.
Yeah. Guys, go ahead and hit that like button if you worked out today, or you're planning on working out today. I would just love to see, where you guys are at and what you're doing. Because I want to talk about strength stuff too. Ashley, I know that you have a really cool background, not only from the dance side, but from the yoga side. What got you into teaching yoga?
Good question. I have always really enjoyed yoga, and I love helping people. And I knew that yoga was really beneficial for my running. So I got into teaching yoga for runners, and I haven't done that in a class in a couple of years now. But it was really just out of just like seeing how much working on that balance, strength, and flexibility really helped. So. Yeah.
And have you always, has it been more like body weight stuff? Yeah, look at all these likes coming in. That's awesome. All you guys are working out. Have you done anything like under load, like in a gym, barbell, dumbbell, kettlebell?
I used to do CrossFit too, Nate.
Did you really? That's cool.
Yeah. But the other aspect of yoga too, like, sure, we can stretch and have all the balance stuff, but learning that mindfulness piece and just being able to kind of be quiet, that I think is just like a continuing important lesson that we're all dealing with right now.
Yeah, I love that. I sometimes joke with runners, and I'll say, like, how many of you guys have finished a race and you were so excited to download your race photos, and you have that envision of that like superhero version of yourself running, and sometimes instead they like catch you doing something kind of funky. It's like your head's tilted to the side, you've got this like crazy snarl or grimace, you have this like claw hand that's like moving in some weird direction, and you're like, oh man, I look like that. And it's funny, right? Like, we all have those moments, right? You're like, well, you're kind of catching us at our worst. I always like to tie that, I like to tease, I like to tie that into how we look at the end versus how we look at the beginning. But I think what's interesting, just from an awareness standpoint, and this is something that we really have an opportunity to work on right now, whenever we're running with a group, or even running ourselves and we're putting, headphones in our ears, listening to podcasts, like, we're doing it as a little escape. And I'm not knocking the escape at all, right? That's super important. It's really fun to not think about anything but just chit-chat with your friends and go on. But I have had some runners who have never run without headphones before. And when they took their headphones out and turned off the music, they were astounded at what their feet sounded like when they ran. And just that purpose of awareness, like, we're all in a moment where when we're running, like, we are alone. So how can we use it to build on some of those things? Like, how would you like guide people through a yoga class? Like, what would you say to some runners, that would help get them started on some of that awareness stuff?
I think that thinking about the footsteps is a big one. Just like noticing the sound of your footfall and tuning into that. So like, there's two ways. Like, you can look internal or you can look external. So you could tune into like the sound of your footfall, the sound of your breathing, how that balance in your body, maybe even the time between your steps. Like, if you're feeling, oh, my left side is doing something a little different than my right side. And just kind of bringing your mind back to that over and over. This like really simple task of like only thinking about your steps, or looking external and noticing like, oh, there are birds chirping. I didn't notice that they were there. Or the sun feels this way on my back, or whatever it is. Just keying in on those really small things happening around you. Or maybe it's like the smell of spring. Like, here everything's blooming. And so you could spend a run looking at both of those, kind of like the first half one is internal, the second half is external.
Yeah. I want to ask from like what you've learned on this from the ultra runner side, because we've done several videos with pro runner Eo Wang on how to run 50 miles. We've done some kind of fun ones of her running the Olympic trials a couple weeks ago. But one of the questions we asked her that was kind of like a requested question to ask was like, do you listen to music in your races, or what do you listen to? And she was like, no, I don't listen to anything. And she's like, there's enough things for me to focus on in the race, and I don't want to miss a turn or like lose my nutrition. And so no right or wrong, but I was just curious for you, when you're winning Leadville 100, are you doing it with music? If so, when? Like, what does that look like?
I think I ran Leadville with music. But more recently, I haven't run with music. And I've run quite a few ultras without it too.
Yeah.
I think it really kind of just depends on where you are. And
yeah,
no right or wrong, but it definitely is a different experience. And, there's a value in both. There's like a benefit to both. I definitely used to be someone that was like, no music.
Yeah.
But I've softened up a little bit.
We're getting softer in our older ages, actually. I know, our ripe 30-something. I know. I got a few whites in here. They're coming.
Oh yeah, the headphones thing outside. Yeah, that's a really good point. Definitely advocate for if you're going to listen to music, a single earbud, especially if you're in a place where people are passing you. I think that's
one of the things I love. And by no means is this any paid promotion. I just like these guys. Is the Aftershocks headphones? These things are so great. I run, as you guys know, I run with Coach Nordog all the time. She's on the trails with us. In the winter, she turns into such a monster out here because it's like cooler and there's tons of like rivers and streams. So like she'll just like crush 10 miles, no problem. And I like this because I can like listen to her like dog tag and like where she's going if I'm also listening to something. So I always, these things are great in that respect. I've done a little mix. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts. I have done music, especially like I try to save it for like maybe like key or big workouts. But lately I've like less. I just find that I'm like, man, especially working from home, I've like cut out my commute time. Like I'm just so plugged in all day that it's like, man, this is like my 1 hour of like not having my eyes glued to a screen. So I've been trying to approach it that way.
Which that is huge, and that was a note I have about some of these things for getting like tips and motivation for right now. Just that goes along the lines of like do more nothing with your brain because you're plugged in so much. It's like your brain has no time to rest, and so you can really have that time on your run to just let it be. So that's a really good thing to be doing right now.
We're in a weird way, like a major change for me, and I'd love to hear you guys in the comments, like how working from home has been with you. I've been on multiple calls with, basically moms and dads of young kids who are like hiding in a closet somewhere just to escape their kids so they can get on a call undistracted. But I just love to hear, how that's affecting you guys. But for me, I'm still coaching classes a few days a week in San Francisco, and my wife and I are up several times at like 4:15 in the morning, and then I have to be in the city, bright-eyed, ready to go at like 5:15 to coach. And there are certain things I love how that starts my day. Right now, I get to wake up. And I wake up at 6 and I have the first 2 or 3 hours to myself. And I love it. Like I'm secretly loving not commuting right now. I will do a little meditation breathing exercise. I'll sip some coffee. My wife and I will work out at like 6:45 or 7 for an hour. And then we'll kind of get on with our day. My wife's been running more. She used to be a stud swimmer in college, a great triathlete, and and she's been with our friends in the CrossFit gym a lot. But now that, that's closed, we do like 2, home workouts a week that our gym writes up, and then the other days we're running. So it's been kind of fun to run with her more.
Yeah. I wonder if there's anyone that's joined the call who has just started running in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, who here is a new runner, or is
or finding running again?
Or totally. I was gonna say forced into running, but finding running as a more positive spin.
Or if you feel like you were forced into running, maybe you'll change your mind and you'll just love running after this.
I know, right? I think that's our other little like secret hope, is that we can like get you guys hooked in, so you're having a lot of fun with that. While you guys are typing away and chiming in, one of the things that my wife and I have been trying to do is like convert home things into weights that we can use for workouts. So we found that we could take our backpacks and stuff a ton of soup cans in there and like make weights that we could squat and lunge and do thrusters. We were even doing like kettlebell swings or snatches with our backpacks. I almost nailed myself in the face once or twice, so I had to be careful. But that's worked pretty good. We're able to use broomsticks and other things for just like shoulder warm-ups and other things that. And then, we've been doing handstands and wall walks against the door inside. We've been messing around. Actually, Holly and I were talking about this on a call the other day, because she had an athlete who likes to like squat and is used to squatting like 150 or 200 pounds at the gym. And like, how do I simulate that at home? And I was like, if we get you working on, say, a pistol single leg squat, where you're going more full depth, you're shifting a lot more load onto that one leg. So it's like, hey, how do we just turn our own bodies into weight, right? And do
you
things.
Didn't tell the squatter partner or her pet?
Unless she has a 150-pound dog. I know, right? Squat your kids, do all that stuff.
300 pounds. 2 dogs.
Exactly, like 2 dogs on either shoulders as you go. But we have some water jugs, and then, we're trying to get some home stuff.
Totally.
C. Rosher says, hey, it's allowing me to sneak in some strength exercises while on teleconferences. Some push-ups or lunges. Daisy says, I love not having to drive into work. I just commute to my living room, LOL. Militia says, I already work from home, but I still have to homeschool my first grader, and it's tough. But I don't miss the morning rush. More time to get my workouts in. It's weird. We have this mix of more time, but also for those of you guys with kids, it's like less. It's because now all of a sudden you do have to homeschool. We have some members of our team, Liz, who has a very cute, precocious 5 or 6 year old, and trying to stay on her work with us, and then keep her interested. Like on calls, I can just like hear her like singing and like humming in the background. So it's like
totally. We are going to have a guest workout from a pro runner who has quite a few children in a couple of weeks, about working out with the whole family. So just let you all know that's coming if you have kids.
I love it. Kirti says, hey, I'm new to running. I've joined the Fleet Feet DSM group. Do you know what DSM is?
DSM.
Is that, I don't know if that's like a store location or something like that, but anyway. Rebecca's excited, so she knows what's going on. What else have you guys said here? So here we are. Oh, Tim Lyman's in there.
Nice.
Tim is going to be hosting a workout for Together We Move on Tuesday.
Next week. Yes.
Is it this upcoming Tuesday?
I think it is, yeah.
Dang, all right. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. And guys, just speaking on this awareness, tomorrow's workout in the app and on fleetfeet.com features an audio-guided awareness run where you get to think about your breathing, your footfall, and then just outer sound. So it's more about unplugging and enjoying some aspects of those things, which will be good. DOS Sound Machine, right on. Just curious, you guys, what other things have you tried? Like, how else are you trying to solve your fitness stuff? Have you been searching for at-home workouts and videos? Have there been any other, apps or programs that you've tried to download or use? Like, I'd just be curious to see, how we're all trying to solve this thing and get in there. Yeah, Tib, we are totally stoked for you to get in there and host some of those workouts too.
Or even things that you found or things that you haven't found that you really want, that maybe we can help you solve for.
Exactly, and any workout requests or people you would love to see in, because we'll be in. It's a lot of work, right? Like we've been hustling. I feel like Ashley is my new workplace best friend. Like I think we've been on 1 or 2 calls at least per day for the last 2 or 3 weeks as we get things up to snuff.
Yeah. I was just like, this YouTube Live is just like we're in a meeting, and then there's a lot of other people watching.
Pretty much. Yeah, right. What does Ruth say here? She says, hi, with so many parks closing their bathrooms, any tips to help balance sipping and needing to stop? What do you think, Ashley?
That is a good question. Where are you running and through town? Well,
I think Ruth, if you are really, so one, you could do a run, and maybe this time of year it's still a little cooler, where you could be very good on the pre-hydration for the day or two prior, and then drink a little bit less on the run itself, so that you're not as concerned about that. I think that, like, let's say you're really trying to push your hydration in the event. Well, how could you loop or change your run so that you have access to a bathroom? And that might mean, if you're doing a long run, you're doing like a couple out and backs from your house, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Or peeing behind a tree is always a popular one.
Yeah,
works every time. What did Kirti say? Fleet Feet, Des Moines, Iowa. Run experience. I've been watching your YouTube channel. All right, I like that. I like the sound of that. He says, I've done 2 runs with the group, and I have clicking in my left kneecap. Running injury-free and not giving up would be helpful. Hey, hit that like button if all of you guys are experiencing some kind of ache or pain right now. I'm just curious to see how many of you are potentially dealing with something, because it's pretty common among runners to have something be achy or a little stiff. This is also a really good chance to work on some of those things, because I know a lot of us as runners will say, hey, I am really going to stretch after this run later, only for later to just kind of disappear, right? Oh, yeah. We just get pulled into the rest of our day. You're on your computer, you're taking care of your kids, and all of a sudden you're exhausted, and you're just like, man, I just haven't done anything. And you can get away with that for a little while until you can't, right? Your body says, like, nope, things are a little bit too stiff. I saw like 2 thumbs up. You guys are liars. I know there's more of you in there that are stiff. There we go. We're getting a few more. We're trying to, in the Together We Move program, like actively promote daily mobility work just by giving you a little guidance. One of the things that I think we should all do as runners from a baseline is to basically like do a full body scan once or twice a week. And regardless of knee pain or calf or ankle pain or anything, you should be rolling and stretching those suckers out. And what's nice about setting a baseline is you sort of know where you are before you start putting the hammer down. Because if you're training for a marathon or an ultra, and you kind of get a pass the first 3 to 6 weeks, but everything accumulates under the surface. And all of a sudden, if you're 6 weeks into training, or a lot of you guys who started running in January, now we're getting into April, and your knee is on fire, like, you missed a lot of opportunities to fix it early, but also, like, you're in a place where it's hard to uncrash a car once it's already been in that crash position, as opposed to not crashing in the first place. And some of that is better some of that makes more sense when we have like a race schedule coming up. Fortunately, right now, we don't have races, so we can, let our body heal on their own schedule, as I like to say.
The other piece of that too is, maybe there's this pain in your knee and it's coming from someplace else. And when you are taking this time to do that overall body check every week, and you're focusing on the mobility and the strength and the stretching, and you're not overstretching, like you're not stretching more on one side than the other, where you're creating an even bigger imbalance, you may start to see where like that's coming from further up the chain, which it often does, especially if, we are all working, if we are working from home now, or if you're sitting more, even if you're not working, if you're on your phone more, if you're on your computer more, and maybe your hip flexors are getting tighter, all these things.
Exactly.
We're stressed. Like, we have this total, this is a huge thing that's happening right now in the world. And so we're that in some way is affecting our body. So it's always good to remember that.
It's a really good point. Actually, I'm going to film with a certain neighbor of mine, Mr. Kelly Starrett, who is a expert on the mobility and physical therapy side. One of the things that I have learned from him is that when you're dealing with a painful area, to really look above and below that painful area. So if you have a painful knee, chances are it's not necessarily a major specific joint issue. It's probably something in your quads that are incredibly tight and stiff, or something going on in your hamstrings or your calves. So it's just like a really nice way to break things down, as Ashley said, to address more of what that kind of root cause would be. Yeah,
and then thinking about Fleet Feet across the country, and if you're new to running or you're feeling some imbalances, we are launching we have just launched a virtual fit program. It's not available everywhere yet, but we will have more information about that next week. But we do.
Oh, I'm excited to learn about that.
Curbside pickups at stores around the country, so that's a great option if you need new footwear. And then anytime you buy on our .com site, you are supporting local, because those come from the locally owned stores. That's who fulfills the orders for you.
It really is. So, I really love my local community out here in Marin. There's been such a big push in like online channels and Nextdoor to support, all the local businesses that we still want to be around after this. So like our local bakeries and cafes and restaurants, if we're not patronizing them, like, they may not be there at the end of this. And that includes running stores. Like, I love our local running stores. It's where all of us congregate and meet, and we get to geek out and talk about all the things that our rest of our family thinks we're nuts over or is tired of hearing. And as so many Fleet Feet stores are locally owned, right? So
yeah,
FleetFeet.com or Fleet Feet, is doing a lot to support them. Do you want to explain what curbside pickup is for those who don't know?
Yeah, so it's sort of just like how restaurants are doing takeout almost now, where it's contactless curbside pickup. So you can call and you can order your gear, and it will be outside on the curb with your name on it, ready for you. And definitely call your local store to get more information, because obviously I'm removed from your local store, so they can definitely help you more with that than I can. But
Ashley's actually an ultra runner.
Your gear and support.
Yeah, Ashley's actually an ultra runner, guys. So she's gonna take your orders and then run to your house and drop them off at a respectful distance, right? Run to the curb. Is that the curbside? You're just going to run cross country delivering the shoes?
But yeah, that's definitely a great way to continue to support your local store, but really to make sure that you have the gear that you need. And one really cool thing that's happening right now, Features, a sock company that we work with, when you shop at your local store, if you buy a pair of Features will also donate a pair to a local medical professional in your area that's in need. And they're doing that right now up to 20,000 pairs of socks. So that is a really cool way. Just the running community is giving back in incredible ways right now. So I know. Yeah.
That's awesome. So guys, you're all chiming in here. You're sort of listening to us. We've covered some different things about how, the quarantine has affected us personally, how we're thinking about our running and training. We'd love to hear any of your questions, any things you guys are dealing with. It could be quarantine specific or not. Like it could just be general running and training. What do we all collectively want to work on over these next few weeks and months? For Together We Move, we're going to be putting out new workouts every single day, and we're just going to keep doing it. Like, we don't know when this whole thing's going to end, so we figured, why not just keep putting out workouts? We are recruiting and gathering momentum like crazy, getting a lot of really fun coaches and personalities and channels involved, so it's really going to feel like this big collective party.
And also prizes. So some of our future YouTube lives, we will have prizes from some incredible partners. So definitely stay tuned for that, and we will let you know ahead of time each week who our special guest will be. Yeah,
I think we're still figuring out all this thing as we go. Our YouTube live time or day may change, but I think as of right now, we're trying to keep it to a Thursday or a Friday. And if this works for the Ashleys of the world, this definitely works for the Nates of the world for this time. And hopefully you guys in the East Coast and on London can, enjoy this as a little happy hour push as well. Because why not? So Joy says, I saw a post on Strava where a guy ran an ultra around his house. I think it took about 5,000 laps. That's either creativity or desperation. A little bit of both.
A little of both?
Yes. Yeah. A little bit of both. Jimmy says, hey, kind of new to things. I should do, in addition to just getting out and running, can you share what is meant by mobility? Yeah, that's a great question, Jimmy. Mobility kind of refers to the range of motion of our joints and not just the flexibility or length of our muscles. So it's our ability for our shoulder to kind of flex all the way up, extend all the way back, the same thing for our hips. And when Ashley mentioned earlier, when we spend extended periods sitting, we get a little hunched over, the upper back gets stiff, and all of a sudden my upper arm doesn't reach as much anymore. And my shoulders get a little bit more rounded, so my arm swing isn't here anymore, it starts to cross the body. My hips stiffen up, they don't extend out the back. Just everything, how you feel if you've flown cross country or you've been in the car for a long time, that you feel terrible? That is lack of mobility in a certain way. So I'd love to hear Ashley's thoughts on this too, but the way I think about it is just how do we, continue to add time in where we're working on different movements and exercises that just either maintain or potentially increase that range of motion that we need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's it. And most people don't have the problem of having too much flexibility where that maybe becomes an issue with running, but it's generally this that we're too tight, and we need that range of motion and that balance of strength and flexibility and all of that.
Yeah, so Jimmy, you'll definitely see some different things in our workouts that will improve it. So that's honestly the best way. And then we have a lot of great videos on our channel. For those of you guys who are new to the run experience, we're putting out new videos 3 times a week run trips, a lot of at-home workouts right now you can do. But we've done a lot of breakdowns based on different injured body parts or things you want to improve on your run form. So literally you can kind of search for anything, and if you can't find it, tell us and we'll film it so we can help you out.
Chances are other people need to hear it too. So
yeah, exactly right. So Ashley, what are you most excited about for the upcoming weeks?
Oh man, I am really excited that the running community is coming together in the way that it is, and that we can share all of this with everyone. That we're crowdsourcing workouts, that we're creating this community online, and that we are able to provide prizes for people and get people excited and create some fun, friendly competition, and do it in like a really balanced way where we're really focused on the process, not the goal, because like Nate said earlier, we don't know how long this is going to last exactly. Like this is this unprecedented situation. So how do we approach that and take care of each other through it and find like balance and become better runners or become runners or better walkers or whatever it is that we want to be, that we can all work on that together. I think that's definitely the most exciting thing. What about you, Nate?
I'm excited that we get to share this big thing with so many people. It always tickles me that we'll post a video and someone will watch it and they'll actually do the stuff in that video and it'll make a change. And that just ability to connect is still just kind of floors me to a certain level. And I just love, after we've put so much work behind the scenes into this and just been on the phone a lot, talking to different people and putting different workouts and videos, things together, that we're actually starting to see you guys, lean in and participate. And that just makes it all worthwhile and just gives me a lot of energy to really see where this can go. So I'm going to be right there working out with you guys. I'm excited to see, and I just want to see how all zen, mobile, strong, athletic we can get as we come out of this thing. I think we're all going to be like super runners and walkers. It's going to be pretty rad. Totally. And we have the hashtag Together We Move. Yes.
If you want to share anything throughout this whole process, that would be awesome. We would love to see what you're doing, and share some of your stories. So please, reach out, let us know.
Guys, post on if you're posting your workouts on Instagram, use the hashtag Together We Move. Like our team, we'll repost you, we'll talk to you on Instagram. As Ashley mentioned, we're going to be doing some different giveaways. And that's a great way to kind of interact with us and to participate. So invite your friends, let them know what's happening, bring them in. We're going to be going. What does Mr. Tim Lyman say? He says, I heard a phrase the other day that I think applies directly to what we're all doing here. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is a progress. Working together is success. I love that.
Tim. That was...
I feel like we kind of have to end it on that because I don't know if I can come up with anything a little bit more wise. Tim, I'm so excited to get your workout into the program.
Yes.
Gang, start working out with us. Start moving. Use the hashtag Together We Move. Ashley, I'm going to talk to you probably very soon because that is how our world has been.
Probably in the next hour.
Exactly. So for all of you, enjoy the rest of your Friday. I hope you can get out and get some fresh air, and we will be working together online.
Yes, thank you all so much. One more thing, I'm gonna plug really quickly before we hang up.
Please.
The Fleet Feet Rewards app does, you will earn rewards for the miles that you run, and those can be redeemed on the other side. So definitely check that out. We're always running separate things in the app that may coincide with all of this as well. So I know we're asking you to download a lot of different things, but trust it'll be worth it. Trust us, it'll be worth it.
Definitely worth doing it. All right, guys. See you later.
Thank you.